I wanted to dig deeper and understand once again why these two concepts that you try to get yourself into, because these are very sound plans that you have. It looks like you've done the research, you've spotted the need in the marketplace. It's a huge market that you can penetrate. Why it ultimately failed? You said it's not your core expertise, but as it seems, you've prepared yourself well. It's not like you ventured yourself from day one.
Yeah. For Microsilius, I failed because I didn't have control. The parties that I was dealing with, like everybody in life, had their own agendas, and ultimately their agendas weren't aligned with mine. The mistake that I made was that I anticipated that their agendas were the same as mine and our interests were aligned, and ultimately our interests were not aligned. And I put myself in a subsidiary position. I was relying on somebody else who had more experience than me to deliver for me, and ultimately he let me down. So that was the reason for failure there. The reason for the failure of Orla was because I didn't understand then two things. That if you're going to sell into the company, there's always a gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper isn't interested in your agenda one way, shape or another. Ultimately, Orla failed when all is said and done is the reason why Orla failed when all is said and done is because the success of Orla required the customer to do one very, very, very tiny change in their behavior. They needed to stop thinking about email as send, receive, file, and start thinking about email as ditch, deal, delegate, decide. And even though you build into the technology that they use every day, the workflows and the logic and the mechanics of delivering on an organized work outcome, using the technology they don't have to use the technology in a way that involves any more effort and endeavor than they use it in the normal way. They just have to use it in a different way, right? That's simple, really simple. You get it simple down to one core facet where you say to people, your mind has been poisoned by the idea that it's send, receive, file, but don't worry, that's not your fault. That's the technology's fault. You didn't ask for this. If you'd been given a technology that allowed you to manage your next action, you would be much more efficient and productive than you are right now. But instead, because the technology encourages you to send, receive, file, what happens is you don't make any decisions over those emails in your inbox. What you do is you spend all your time either filing those emails away in email subfolders where you can never find anything again, because email subfolders are where emails go to die. Or you decide that you're so overwhelmed with all these items in your inbox, which has now become a one-dimensional, never-ending rolling to-do list, that you've got no control over priorities because other people are constantly popping new things in there. So even if in your own mind you've ordered the things that you're going to do as a result of your email being your task list, as it were, it just doesn't deliver any value to you, because you can only ever work on one thing at a time, and you get completely distracted because other new stuff is coming in, and then you've got to keep rolling through all the stuff in your email inbox looking for, hunting and pecking for the next piece of work that you're going to do. Well, that's no way to plan your life. Of course, this was all coming about, 15, 16, 17 years ago. There's new technologies now. I mean, Slack, for example, solved a lot of those problems, and there are new ways of addressing that. But why did I fail? Ultimately, I failed because I didn't anticipate that the normal human being is not prepared to change their behavior. And if you don't know that before you embark on a project, then you're dead meat. And I was dead meat with Orla, because ultimately that's why it failed.
So to sum it up, keep it simple, provide a solution to the problem for customers, and focus on your core expertise.
Indeed, and life is very complicated, life is very complex now, unnecessarily so. We're inundated by all these demands on our attention, but what counts in the relationship building exercise, where you're wanting to ultimately deliver value to people as a result of the expertise that you've got, what really counts is that problem. So focus on that problem, exclude all the other stuff, and just address that core issue that has brought that person into your life. Address that, do it in a smart way, and you can't fail to be successful.